How you doing, everyone? And welcome to Direct Dreadnought Gundam and More on PS4. And this is the review for the new Dreadnought Turbo update. And this is a really exciting update. I'm very excited about it. But before we dive in, I just wanted to say it's been a rough month for me. I've had a lot of traveling, a lot of work, and it was February, and basically ever since Valentine's Day, any free time I've had for the month of February, I've been spending with my girlfriend. So I really haven't been putting out much content, but I don't want you to worry. I still play the game as much as I can, especially now with this new update, which I'll be telling you about momentarily, and I still love the game. It's just I really haven't had much time to put new content out there. So hopefully when March, April, and May roll around, I'll have a little more time to put out some of the projects I've been working on and to give you good replay content from after the new patch. So what is Turbo? Well, first of all, Turbo is a new game mode, which is really exciting. A lot of players have been coming back to play this, particularly Persistent Flame and some of the Space Apes and many other players. It's basically a turbocharged team deathmatch. Now, we still have all the other game modes that we're able to play and love, and they remain unchanged, but this is sort of like an ultra team deathmatch, and it's not just ships are more powerful and matches are shorter, because there's new strategies now. You can't use the same old ships with the same old builds. You really have to take the time to develop new ship builds and new strategies in this game mode. So first of all, there is constant buffs. It's not like the series battles we had where you're looking for little modules to give yourself bonuses. You get, when you enter the match, a flat 600% increase to movement, 300% vertical movement increase, 300% turn speed, 1.5 times more damage, half the module cooldowns, half the weapon cooldown and reload time, and your projectiles fly 2.5 times faster. And that's really cool, and it's a lot of fun, and I have included some game footage, and of course it was against the Space Apes, which was really heartbreaking. The first time I go to play Turbo, and who's there to meet me but the Space Apes? But I actually held my own and did pretty darn well. But there are dreadnoughts flying around very fast. Artillery cruisers are super powerful but squishy. It's a whole new way to play the game, and I'm not going to say it's better. Some players already think that this is the best mode that we've ever had in Dreadnought, and I'm not going to say that myself because I still like playing the other modes, but it is something new and it's a whole bunch of fun. In addition to that, we finally have a new map, and that's Site 23. Now, I always thought when they were going to put out a new map, it may be a Havoc mode map for PvP play, but this is really exciting because this is a brand new map in a brand new part of the solar system, and I think it would resemble what we might find if we ever had a Battle of Atlantis Neptune map. But there's actually cool lore behind Site 23. Site 23 is a gantry that is inspecting and doing research on a long-lost transhuman ship found near Mercury. And what's really cool about that is you have your 3 home planets of the 3 major nations of the solar system: Earth, Mars, and Venus. And most of the fighting happens near Sinley Bay or Jupiter or Saturn, usually kind of in the middle of the solar system with the asteroid belt and everything else like that. But this is in Mercury, which is kind of the opposite direction of the old transhuman homeworld of Neptune or Uranus or any of those other planets we're accustomed to fighting around. And of course, it's a space map, and I love space maps. My 2 favorite space maps are Ixion, Rings of Saturn, and it's really cool because it has good cover and you can fly through the gantry and do a whole bunch of interesting things, but there's also a lot of open space for artillery cruisers and the like. So it's really cool, And of course, what happened is this ship, the Aethon, was discovered, and now everyone's rushing to get their hands on that juicy transhuman technology, because the Aethon is a legendary transhuman ship with really, really good engines, and that explains why turbo mode is so crazy. There's also a new contract where if you have it pop up in your contract list and you play turbo mode twice, you'll get 10,000 credits, which is pretty juicy, I think. And of course, in this patch, now we have one of my favorite things, bug fixes. And let me tell you, I'm going to jump right to my favorite one. I have a PlayStation 4. I haven't upgraded to the PlayStation 5 yet because I've been spending money on my social life and fixing my house, but I'm going to get there. But one of the problems is, even though the PlayStation 5 has really good graphics, plays buttery smooth, and loads games faster, it was kind of tricking the game. And if you had a PlayStation 4, a lot of times you couldn't choose your ship because the countdown timer went down too quickly. Often I'd jump into a match and only have 2 to 3 seconds, if that, to choose a ship. But now the orbit screen has been fixed so that every player that joins the match has 40 seconds to choose their ship. And even if you have a PlayStation 4 like mine that isn't totally up to snuff and it's a little slower than other people's, or especially the PlayStation 5, I find consistently I always have at least 30 seconds to choose my ship, and I think that is just great. There is some, of course, AI tweaking that has been going on. That's been going on for a while. And of course, there is a fix to endurance mode. It now triggers regeneration constantly, so that module is fixed and now even better than it was before. The Wave 19 problem and Havoc that sometimes pops up, that's been fixed, and there's a PC login that's been fixed too. So we have balance changes. The Goliath torpedo is nerfed just a little bit. It steers a little worse and takes another second to arm, but I don't think that's that bad. And let's face it, if you're a kamikaze Goliath torpedo player, you're probably going to be killed by your own torpedo. Good Goliath torpedo use usually includes module reductions and basically firing 2 Goliaths from an angle players aren't expecting, like the flank. And I don't think this is going to hurt a good player's use of the Goliath torpedo. Artillery cruiser AI bots now use their secondary weapon, and artillery cruiser bots are pretty darn good, but I have noticed when you close in on them as a corvette or a destroyer, sometimes the bot panics and doesn't really shoot at you, and it's an easy kill, and they kind of fixed that. And of course, big news for a lot of players, squad size has been returned to 4. The Space Apes are happy with that. The Germans are happy with that. And I preferred a squad size of 2 or 3, but you know what? It really doesn't bother me that that's gone up to 4, and that is what most of the community wanted. So I think that's just great. And even though some of my battles may be a little tougher like they were before squad sizes got brought down to 2, I think it'll be just as much fun, and it'll be nice to see some old familiar faces fighting me in teams of 4. So what's really cool also is that there's UI changes, and these UI changes make the PlayStation 4/5 version of Dreadnought and make it closer to PC Steam, and I think that's good. I mean, this is just my opinion. Everything I've told you so far is fact, but my opinion is the more closely we are identical to Steam, the more capability or possibility we have one day, if we're lucky, for a cross-platform server. And I think that's just great. But that's me saying that. It's not anyone else. So keep that in mind. And I personally think that the UI and graphics, especially, I'm showing you a clip in here of not just some of the new ship skins and of course a turbo battle I had with the apes, but a battle on Amirani, in which I think the Amirani graphics are much better than they used to be before the patch. And I think that also all the battles I've been fighting seem to have much smoother graphics, and they seem to be more crisp. And I also think the UI, even though it really doesn't change much, looks a little better and is a little more darker, ominous, and is closer to what PC has over on Steam. So of course we have new things in the market, and I haven't spent money on Dreadnought in a little while, probably in the last month or so. So I did purchase the Outlaw Horde. A lot of people say this one isn't such a great value, but it has the Herja in it, and it also has a new Oberon artillery cruiser skin, and I just had to have those, especially the Herja. It's a new Kataro skin for Jupiter Arms, and I think it's just fantastic. I think it looks gorgeous. There's also the Renegade stash, the Rogue cache, and of course the Mercury Expedition decal, and all those are pretty darn good. And there's a new hero ship, a Jupiter Arms Corvette, the Hermes, and I think it looks pretty darn cool as well. So I'm going to try to make this a short one because I'm very pressed for time. Tomorrow I will be leaving and traveling for work, and I did want to spend as much of this weekend as I could with my girlfriend and my family. But I did get at least a few games in per day, and I'm really excited about the update, and I think it's a sign that things in Dreadnought are moving in a more positive direction. And I want to do a shout out to Ray Dog. Thank you for fixing the in-orbit problem. I made a couple polite, friendly complaints to him about it, and it got addressed right away, and that makes me very happy. And go out and check out this new map, and check out the new turbo mode, and get your fingers on some of these new juicy delicious skins and hero ships that are available to us in the market. Well, that's it from me for now, and I'll see you soon in Sinley Bay.